just a very odd behavior of someone that you don't know. So when that happened, they went into his house and they had found like a whole entire shrine of like all of my photos and Post-it notes and random info of me. Yeah, it was like set to music. It was just like a worship of Kourtney. So
wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys, from Montana today, Kourtney Reppert. She finally made it out here. Her first flight got canceled.
Yep.
Thanks for coming out here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you were dealing with that airport hack, right?
Oh, yeah. That was craziness.
And that got canceled early, like 3 days in advance.
Kind of, yeah. Like we were at the airport and then I was on my way and then they kept delaying it. Like everything kept being delayed. And then finally the pilots, which is rare, they came out, got on the intercom and was like, we can't fly out. They're not letting us just because of technical computer error.
Yeah.
So, and then they ended up flying back, the pilots and the staff.
They flew back alone?
They flew back by themselves back to Vegas.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of pissed.
I was, but what can you do? You just kind of got to shrug it off and hope for the best. And then I was on the call, like on hold for like hours on end. They were just overwhelmed.
Jeez.
So trying to even get a flight booked was just horrendous, just trying to get rebooked.
Yeah.
And then I finally was able to. So flew in late last night and now I'm here.
Here we are. I felt bad for airport staff. I was seeing videos on
know.
TikTok. Oh my gosh, they were getting screamed at, especially by like the cheaper kind of ratchet airlines.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, I feel bad for all the people who are having to deal with the aftermath of it, just cleaning up the mess. Because I'm sure like all the airports were just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Definitely make decisions about my life when it does come to what I've been through. So I do like the rural, the small town vibe more than I think anything else,
Yeah.
So
I can only handle LA for so long.
Yeah.
Like you lasted 10 years, which is props to you. That's it.
Yeah. I had my son there and everything.
Jeez.
So
I don't think I'd raise a kid there.
Yeah. It was not ideal. Like it's okay. Like for all my friends that are moms out there, it's great. That works for them. But for me, I just love my small town roots and I want to be able to have my son experience that too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the power of community is huge for me. Like
Absolutely.
I want to know my neighbors. I want them to have the same ideals as me. Mm-hmm. And there's some crazy thoughts in LA, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everything's on top of each other too. It's hard to just like have space.
Yeah.
So.
I'm glad you made that move though. So was the Stalker in LA or was it in Texas?
No, he was actually located in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Mm-hmm. And he flew to you or?
No. So, how it all kind of started, I was on in like a friend's, birthday trip going to the mountains, enjoying, like a girl's trip, just chilling out, relaxing, getting a few days away from the crazy LA vibe. And it was like early March. So it was still like towards the end of like, snowboarding, skiing season. So it was really fun. And pretty much like when I landed, I started getting emails, just death threats, like I'm going to kill you. And, just really out of line messages that were kind of terrifying because it wasn't like a joke, it was a very serious situation. So it kind of freaked me out that whole weekend. And then I ended up getting a contact at the Wilshire Boulevard, FBI headquarters. So I went there, tried to state my case. At the time, social media was just so new. And people, especially like law enforcement, they didn't know how to handle that. It was a very new thing, I think, for people. So I went there and they didn't necessarily initially pick up my case right away. They gave me a little bit of a runaround. And then I got a random call, like on a random Tuesday. And they were like, hey, we are so-and-so. We need to meet at a public place. We're from, the FBI. We would like to meet you as soon as possible. What's your availability? When can you? And bring your laptop. So I was like, okay. And I met them at a Starbucks. It was straight out of like Men in Black almost. Had their suit and tie on, their shades. And we just, exchanged a little bit of a conversation about what was going on, what they were going to do. They asked for my laptop. The one FBI agent opened it up, started typing in all this random stuff, and basically was like, all this stuff is coming from Chicago. And I was just dumbfounded. I didn't know anyone from Chicago. Honestly, I don't have enemies. I don't have people that would viciously want to do something like that to me. So I really was at a loss of what this could be or who it could be from.
Oh, they hacked your laptop?
The FBI, yeah, they were able to like go in and like they taught me some things too. So that's kind of how I became like my own like FBI agent within all of that.
Got it. Wow.
But yeah, they tapped into all that stuff. Were able to let me know the IP addresses obviously are, just an arrangement of numbers.
Yeah.
Which this person was actually doing a lot of the emails from a public library. So it was hard to track initially.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
And that was scary for me because of the unknown part and not knowing who it could be. It could be anybody. And who is this person behind these threats? Are they capable of doing what they say? That part I think really toyed with my head a lot. So that part was very scary. And being a single woman, being, a blonde in an unfamiliar, busy place, as you just said earlier, it was overwhelming for me. And that part was what I think really started to break me down, like initially from the beginning. Like I had a tough mindset and I was like, you know what? No one's going to stop me from pursuing and doing what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep living my life. I'm not going to say anything to anybody other than obviously the close people around me knew. So yeah,
that's scary.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah. I stopped posting where I am live on social media.
Good idea. And I think people can still incorporate their everyday routine, but do it after. Do it when you leave. Do it after you're done experiencing it, or if you know that's completely safe, then I just don't recommend
100%.
it. So, yeah.
No, I've been robbed because of social media because I flexed the wrong thing and then they're at my apartment in LA.
Yeah, I don't talk about my property or my possessions or my money or anything like that. It's just something that I feel like it's cruel, initially, but there's also that what if factor at the end.
It's not worth it. So did you find out who it was?
I did. So the cool story about my situation is that I ended up becoming my own little FBI investigator. I initially had Kobe Bryant reach out.
What?
Yeah. I was on a trip who he had, I guess, seen photos of me.
Yeah.
And was just like, who's that blonde from the one girl? And I'm going to an event and I'm getting text messages from Kobe Bryant and while simultaneously I'm getting death threats, which was freaky. And I was like, this is my life? How is this my life? But yeah, so he wanted to just like be a friend. He wasn't, like weird or anything like that. And I just, for like 2 weeks, I just was like kind of blowing him off.
Wow.
I know. But it was just kind of one of those things where I was so overwhelmed with what I was dealing with that I was like, I'm not in the mood to having new friends in my life right now.
I would have answered instantly.
Even Kobe, sorry. But he was cool about it. I told him, I was like, listen, I'm going through some really heavy I don't think anybody could really understand what I'm going through. And I'm just not comfortable going out in public right now, doing anything. And he's like, just give it to me straight. Just tell me what it is. I'm sure I can help you or understand. And I told him, and he goes, if anybody understands, it's me. So he's like, I will bring my head security. I will have, your own driver, your own bodyguards. I will shut down an upper level and let's try and help you. So I was really grateful for that. And I initially had more conversations with his head of security than I even did with him. I felt bad about that, but I was there for a main reason and purpose to, get some support.
Wow. So his security helped you out.
Yeah. So they were very helpful. And I was able to hire a private investigator as well.
That sounds expensive.
It was very pricey. And I think at the time, when I was just kind of starting my career, obviously that was a lot of money to me.
Yeah.
So having someone to initially step up and help was, truly grateful scenario for a horrific situation I went through. And during all that time, I was learning a lot. I was learning from my FBI agents who were calling me every day. I was learning about just how IP addresses and everything and all that stuff worked. And I was keeping track. I was kind of, like I said earlier, I was like my own investigator. And I just started to, I was always good at in the internet and social media, and I had already an established platform from something that was just so new and starting out, which automatically made me a target. But I was able to learn a lot, and intuitively, as women, we have that strong, sixth sense almost. And I was able to start tapping into that power that I had within myself. So when all this was going on, I was also simultaneously getting threats. And I was also getting love notes from someone who was using their real Facebook profile. And then 5 minutes later, I'm getting the most horrific death threats you can imagine.
What?
Yeah.
So it's the same guy?
Same guy.
Weird.
So I never knew, in the beginning, but the pattern was what I kept picking up. And I was like, why am I getting love notes the same time I'm getting threats from like an alias email or, he would put out like personal info of me, like home addresses. Like he was able to tap in and basically just exploit all of my personal information and then use that as blackmail and say, I'm going to release this if you don't do this. Stop modeling, stop acting, stop your social media, stop everything. And of course, I'm rebellious. I'm going to do the opposite, no matter what. So it was just, it was something that I had to just trust my gut in that, in a sense where it was like, even if I had all these guys and all these people protecting me, initially, what was I going to do about it? And I felt that it was just something that I had tapped into that no one else could really tap into. And that was just power of intuition. So I started playing little scenarios. I actually had the FBI show up at my birthday party. They were undercover. I had 5 FBI agents swarming around my table. I notified half my friends. Half of them showed up, half of them didn't. And I had a blast, but they had undercover in front of the walk-in of the club because I was hosting at a club for my birthday, and I didn't want to stop what I was doing, So I basically set my stalker up in a trap, and I knew that he was very obsessed. So I had blocked him on Facebook, and then that's when I think the emotions played out on his end, where the IP addresses started matching up. And the emails that his sister, that he was pretending to be his sister, were sending me were matching up to the same IP addresses that were being sent to not only a public library, but then also I was able to get his IP address from at his house.
Damn.
Yeah. So I passed all that information over to the FBI. And about a month later, a little less than a month, and I had then actually at that time, all the death threats had stopped. So again, another factor of a pattern of, having my gut be right. So a month later, I got a call from my FBI agent. He randomly called me. He would call me like almost every day, text me every day, just to make sure I was okay. I had local law enforcement on my side. I had, 2 FBI agents, but he was the most in contact with me. And he called me on a random day, like towards the end of June. And he said, hey, we're in Chicago. Be by your phone. We're going in at 4 a.m. and we're going to need to be able to contact you and communicate with you through this whole process. So they were able to finally get a warrant because of everything that I provided the FBI matched up. So then they were able to legally go ahead and get that situated. Yeah.
So did you even know the guy or complete
Never
random?
knew him.
So he just went psycho.
Went psycho, was obsessed, wanted to marry me, wanted to, basically keep him have me to himself, didn't like the attention that I would get. You know, just a very odd behavior of someone that you don't know. So when that happened, they went into his house and they had found like a whole entire shrine of like all of my photos and Post-it notes and random info of me. Yeah, it was like set to music. It was just like a worship of Kourtney. So
damn.
Yeah.
That is freaky. So he got locked up?
He was arrested by the FBI agent, so he was on federal arrest and had no bond, wasn't eligible. So it was pretty serious. And I did not initially want it to get out. They were like, do you want to use your name? And I'm like, no. Like, I just want this to go under the rug. I just want to move on.
Were you embarrassed or?
I was.
I feel that.
I was very, actually. You know, from the moment I think women are born, we're taught shame and we're taught to cover up or don't say this or act like a lady or, you know, be ladylike or whatever it is. And social media kind of break that stigma. And, you know, I started off my career doing photo shoots. I was wearing jerseys. I'm like, you know, in bikinis, and I was Philly's hottest blonde. So my photo shoot, I'm in an American flag bikini, you know, skin. It's not offensive, but a lot of people with the internet find it to be, you know, especially for women.
Yeah.
So I felt a bit of shame. I didn't really have a full support the way that I would like. I think the whole Kobe Bryant story and him showing up and being there in a time in my life was great. But the friends around me, the support, they couldn't understand or even comprehend the level of pain that I was feeling and dealing with. You know, having your life threatened and not knowing how to look over your shoulder or who to trust. Because again, for almost 3-4 months, we didn't know who it was.
Wow.
So it was very hard to trust even anybody around me. And I dealt with a few women friends who blamed me and treated me like complete crap out of that whole process.
Really?
So that was also on top of trauma, on top of even more.
Wow.
You know?
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Because I just think that there's a lot of things that our society doesn't know or understand yet, especially when it comes to women and, you know, the things that we do as females. Like our sexuality is used against us when really, like, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your mom, you know? Like,
I had a single mom growing up, so.
Yeah, you know, and we go through so much and struggle and, you know, sacrifice for our children. And I think that I wasn't a mom at the time, but being a mom now, I am very, very, just apprehensive with bringing new people in my life just because of what happened. But I know I can't live in that mindset forever because I'm a very social butterfly, but I'm also very, exclusive with the people that I connect with too. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure you have to as well.
I've had to been, yeah. I used to have a lot of friends, but I've really had to look at my circle.
Absolutely. You know, I think that is what really indicates like how successful someone can be is the people they surround themselves with,
For sure.
know?
Yeah.
So.
And now you got a kid and you're a single mother and running a business.
Multiple, yes.
Yeah, you got KR Media. That's your main one, right?
Yeah, it's my media company I've had for 12 years. Maybe more than that now. But when I was actually going through that horrific time, I had a marketing and media company. It was Bombshell Marketing. And because my social media had blown up so much, I was getting left and right people just wanting to get their products, just to be seen, their page, their numbers to grow. And I don't know if you're familiar with Facebook and like a subscriber option.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, they had started that and they had used one of my pages as like their guinea pig. So I was growing like 10,000 subscribers a day, just doing nothing. So it was just free traffic. And I was like, I have to market myself, but I now can open up this opportunity for other people, whether it be other models or brands or companies or products. I was just doing it all. So I then transitioned from Bombshell Marketing. I wanted to expand more. So I renamed it to KR Media.
Got it.
So,
and before that, you were in the beauty industry, right?
Before that, I was doing hair and makeup. I was doing skincare. I have my aesthetics license from PA, probably expired now, but I was very much into that. I grew up with not the best skin. So, like, I don't know, maybe hereditary, whatever, but, you know, kind of, it's like I wanted to learn so I could heal myself so then I could help heal and teach others.
I love that. Yeah, I had terrible acne growing up, and I never knew it was from diet.
Exactly.
Until after.
I realized I have a lot of food allergies. I didn't know that about myself until I ended up starting to internalize a lot more of, you know, what could it be versus the products I'm putting on my face.
Facts.
And I was having a lot of allergic reactions. So I've been with so much of a journey of, you know, self-love and, you know, taking care of myself from within. And, you know, everybody sees my beautiful photos, but they don't see the real struggles that I have, you know, behind the scenes a lot.
Yeah, that must have been tough behind the scenes because you're a cover model, right?
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time. So if you had one acne breakout or a pimple, you're like freaking out.
Yeah, like my past birthday, April, I did a photo shoot and my skin was perfect. It was clear. And then I got a spray tan and I got my makeup done and I broke out. I was allergic from something.
Damn.
So it took like a good 3 months for me to just get to where I am now, where my skin's like looking better and feeling better because it's painful.
3 months.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, did you when you had cystic acne or was it painful for you?
It was pretty bad. I was on Accutane and it hurt a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. And that can mess up your day too.
Oh yeah. My month. I mean, I was on it for 6 months and lost all my emotion. And yeah, I wish I didn't go that route looking back on it.
You know, I've never done Accutane, but I've heard some really great things, but I've heard some not so. Yeah. And a lot of it is more of what you're talking about, you know, just wishing that they could have done it different, but your skin looks amazing. So
well, it helps with that for sure, but the internal damage I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah, the high dose of vitamin A.
Yeah, vitamin A is a controversial vitamin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what other businesses you got these days?
So I'm working on a bikini line. I've been working on it for years, I feel like, and also because I have a beauty background, I'm working on my beauty and skincare line as well. You know, I've been doing a lot of testing, a lot of different materials, a lot of different styles, sizes with my bikinis. Right now, I'm really into the tan-free bikinis where, you know, you go out, like in Vegas, you get a tan line and then it kind of ruins, you know, your outfit or whatever, you know. So I like how my bikinis, they really help blend in your tan and they let your skin breathe. And so you're not just with the contrast of the tan and then your pale skin. So
yeah, I've seen some nasty tan lines.
Yeah.
I stopped wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
Because my face would look messed up.
You'd get that.
Yeah, the sunglass tan line. That's like one of the worst ones to get.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Or now the face mask one.
Oh, man.
Have you seen those?
People still wear those?
I don't know. I hope not.
Jesus. I once in a while, I'll see someone in the casino. I'll be like, damn,
why?
Dude, I feel bad for you.
You don't know yet?
Yeah. Just well, it was programming. I mean, I was wearing them during the pandemic.
Yeah. I was too. You know, I think like initially when you first start, you want to obviously be as safe as possible. Yeah. You know, me having a young one, you don't know. They didn't really know too much. And now I'm just like, I refuse.
I was brainwashed back then. Jesus. Ugh.
It's hard to do that for me at this point. But yeah, it was. I found out like almost like a whole week, like right after all that, like even going to the grocery store, you know, they're like disinfect everything.
Oh, the sprays.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wipes.
I did that for like a hot minute.
Oh man.
Well, we were the first in LA to get locked down and I was terrified being a new mom, being like in unfamiliar of just what is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and then you kind of just, you wake up real fast after that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now looking back, it's like the soaps are bad for you now.
Oh, yeah.
The hand sanitizers. It actually kills good bacteria too. Yep. And they were telling you to use it every day. Every
day, yeah. I know. We have such an incredible, brilliant immune system. Our bodies are a work of art. And I'm sure everybody that you've interviewed, you know, up until now, you've been able to learn so much about our just whole embodiment of just a miracle of life, of being a human.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is. And I know you talk about spirituality too, which I love, by the way.
Yes. I'm not into religion. I am very much into spirituality, and I don't like being boxed in, and I feel like that's kind of what religion is and has become.
For sure.
It's been hijacked. There's a lot of great things that religion does embrace, but overall within and everything I feel like I've gone through, there's just something so much bigger at, in power of just what we don't even know all of yet.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I wouldn't label myself any specific religion, but
same. I wear the eye Taurus, and I kind of am more about my energy and good vibes, and just overall, just learning more every day about it.
Yeah. Have you had any run-ins with aliens?
I have.
That's why I asked.
I love aliens. Oh, do I love aliens? Okay, so when I was younger, I remember going, I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I just remember having, I wouldn't call it like an imaginary friend, but it was just something that I felt as a younger child, that there was always someone around. And whether that be our spirit guides or even our higher selves or whatever it is that we label it, I've always felt that. And then as I gotten older, I started doing more and more research. I've always had a fascination with the pyramids, with, ancient history. I'm fascinated by that. And about a year ago, I was at a storage unit, and I was just randomly putting stuff in my storage unit. And I look up and I literally see these flashing lights, and then they just go so fast, far away.
Wow.
It was I saw two flashing lights, and then they just like a thief in the night just went away, but I saw the light follow. And I really honestly felt like that could not have been satellites. So I've talked to a lot of people who have experienced aliens and things like that, but those have been two strong scenarios in my life where I felt like a presence around me, but then I've also seen lights and them be unhuman.
I could believe it, yeah. I had someone on last week. He said there's a ton of UFO sightings in Arizona.
Oh, well, that could be very much about what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's so many different people that have different experiences and stories with aliens and UFOs even. A friend of mine, she's a director, and she directed Beyond the Light Barrier.
Oh, wow.
By Elizabeth Clara. And she talks about her UFO experience with Archon, which is like her alien husband. So, waiting for him, I guess.
She has an alien husband?
Yeah. She was in South Africa, and they had experienced crazy things where she was, where she grew up on this hill. And she was talking about it in her documentary about that he had his ship and came there and took her away, teleported them, and she ended up having a child in space.
What?
And yeah, but she was never able to bring the child here to Earth. And,
the dad took it? I got to look into that story. That sounds crazy.
You got to watch it. I believe it's on Prime.
Wow.
So yeah, my friend, and she's amazing. And, she's also from South Africa. So it was really amazing to watch her documentary and have that experience come to life. Because there was a lot of people who were very skeptical, but then there were all these people around South Africa who were also seeing almost the same type of things. Not into that extreme, but the lights and also the overall the attraction. There were people driving to that spot because of what they had seen.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just wonder why they don't want to be seen. That's where it gets tricky. If they're from the future, maybe.
I think that they do. I think that we as human species, and I think Billy Carson touched on this, is that the human race is like toddlers. And would we even be able to handle it if they were to be seen? I think that they've been watching us. I do. But I hope that they kind of start reappearing.
Yeah.
You know?
They're saying they're going to start coming like a 90% chance in the next few years, I believe. But I thought that Miami one was fake. I feel like there's a lot of disinformation about it.
I heard about the Miami one. You're talking about like the mall.
Yeah,
and
the mall.
They were like these giants. So obviously we are probably familiar with Men in Black, the movie, which I think is a lot more sort of like real for the reality of like human race. And we think because we think we're the only ones, we think that we're alone, right? Or at least that's what they tell us. So I feel like there's different portals and different stargates. And I think a lot of these aliens, you know, we visibly as humans can only see like 1% of really our whole entire environment. And I don't know. There is a big probability that that could be not real, but then there's also that, well, what if it is?
Yeah.
So who knows if they're able to kind of like manipulate our environment and like hang out with us without us even knowing.
No, I could see that. I just think when it's released in the mainstream or if the government releases undocumented files, it's like kind of BS.
Yeah. Well, they did, and I think the CAA, they did release that aliens are real and, you know, that there are UFOs. And
Yeah.
I think that they've hidden a lot of things from us.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is going to be exposed very soon, if not now already, but even more.
For sure. I'm
You
excited
know.
to see what happens.
Me too.
I had a psychic predict that I will have an alien on this podcast one day.
Oh my God, that's
so
amazing.
I'm really looking forward to that day.
I hope friendly.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, some people think they're not friendly, right?
Who is this? When did you get this
It was
prediction?
like 2 weeks ago. He said, I think next year. So
That would be so
yeah,
cool.
shit might happen.
That could be
next
like
year.
your number one podcast view.
Yeah. Well, it seems like there's some divine intervention going on right now with what happened with Trump with the 5 millimeters. I mean, that's
the bullet?
crazy. Yeah.
Has to be
He
divine.
never turns his
intervention.
head. He always looks forward. And the
Yeah.
one time he looks away.
Yeah. A miracle.
I mean,
It gives me just chills just sitting here, even just talking about it, because that is the day that my mom died 3
Wow.
years ago.
crazy.
So I actually was, tubing. For some weird reason, and I do feel like I am connected to my mom, even though she's not here. It's been 3 years, but I don't feel sad about her not being here because she's here with me in other ways. So I celebrate her, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with my son. Is I was like, let's go tubing, let's go fun, let's go have some fun on the water, you know, enjoy Mother Nature, and let's just be disconnected from my phone, the whole bit. And as soon as I got into self-service, there was just assassination on Trump and all these crazy news stories, and it freaked me out. I was very concerned. And, you know, then I turned the TV on and I was just like, wow, like this is crazy. You know, what people are going through, the traumatizing scenario of that was something that I personally have gone through. And losing a loved one, you know, is the worst, but having someone of that caliber and they're so close to that, and that I think was what I think changed a lot of people in the reality of like life is precious.
Yeah.
More precious than you could ever imagine. And so as fun as it was for me that day, it was also my attention and everything changed to, you know, we got to celebrate life now even more and just live every day and thank and love your loved ones and, you know,
Agreed.
appreciate everybody around you that are there to make the world a better place, right? So yeah, that was a crazy weekend for me.
Yeah, he seemed like a changed man after that.
Yeah.
His speech the next day was way different than normal.
I didn't see that or hear it, his speech, but I did see the Trump speech. Actually, that's when my flight was being delayed.
Oh, yeah?
My flight kept being delayed, and I was like, oh, I guess I can watch the you know, the talks and the speech. I saw Dana White,
Yeah.
and he was amazing.
That was a legendary opening.
Oh my God. I was like, yeah.
That got me riled up. And I'm not even into
Yes.
politics, to be honest. But
I'm not either. That's the thing, you know, but it's so much bigger than that.
yeah.
you
Yeah, this
know?
election feels that way for sure.
Absolutely.
Before, I feel like I didn't care enough, but this one feels like it's really pivotal for some reason.
Yeah, I grew up never really caring. I never really had a party. I was a life of party, but I didn't really care about the, you know, whichever side. And I was actually kind of more lenient on independent, you know, just I'm always rebellious in that sense. But then the more and more as I got older and I became a mom and I started to realize all these things are affecting me, I need to start paying attention.
Right.
I need to start realizing the real reality of, you know, our world. And so, yeah, I'm now a big advocate on, you know, just sharing that we can all come together and unite. We got to do it in a way that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the things that they do now are outdated.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like term limits. Like, how about you have that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, actually.
Yeah, no, not
Like
either.
4 years, you can't get what you want to get done.
No, absolutely not. And then there's a lot of people that are there that have been there for 50 years and they haven't got anything done, you know?
Yeah. I think one of them just dropped out, right?
Yeah.
Kourtney, it's been fun. Where can people find where you're up to and your social media and stuff?
Yeah, so my Facebook and my Instagram is all my handle of Kourtney Reppert with the K. And I have a lot of other things that I'm going to be launching very soon, so they can just check that out there. I have my media website, krmediamentor.com. I help a lot of women, you know, up and coming new brands. So, you know, I'm easy to reach, but to get a hold of, that's a different story.
Don't stalk her, guys. Thanks, Kourtney, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.